Paul Triple H Levesque McMahon facing heavy pressure to send this WWE superstar back to NXT due to lack of skill and too many botches. And I gotta admit, this one actually caught BC by surprise. We'll talk about who it is in this upload. Also, with 8 weeks, 59 days ahead of WrestleMania, WWE planted the seeds on Raw of a potential IC title match for the 40th anniversary show. But word going around the campfire is that the company is not completely sold on the match. And there's a couple of names we're hearing that could be alternatives, replacements for Jey Uso. We'll talk about it in this upload. And a big update on tomorrow night's massive Vegas WrestleMania 40 press conference. It's all coming up. It's all amplified in this very upload. Smash those ups. Appreciate it, guys. But first, a lot of side stories making the rounds in the pro wrestling world, so I say we discuss those from the jump. And we'll start with Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné. She is the heavy favorite to be TK's major announcement tonight on Dynamite. It's been a while, but you're getting one of TK's, Tony Khan's, big announcements tonight. This major award, if you ever saw the Christmas Story. Fragile. It's a major announcement. He usually does this when he's trying to pop a rating, try to get back to 1 million. He has not sniffed 1 million in viewership in a very long time. So he's going to hope that this will be the night, and Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, looks to be the name that he is going to announce he has signed. That's the word anyway. That's the heavy favorite to be the announcement. Now, we've played this game in the past, and I believe one of his big announcements, a lot of people thought it was the announcement of Banks, and that may have been the week where Tony Khan announced that AEW was going to have a reality show. Something that you would get in a press release at 11 a.m., right? But he had everybody on the edge of their seat waiting for word on what this major award is, this big announcement. And it ends up being basically Total Divas, but for AEW. A reality show, behind the scenes. We already have that. It's this platform. There's so many behind the scenes. Everything is behind the scenes now, a documentary. But that was the big announcement, right? So when you keep making big announcements about major announcements and they don't live up to the hype, eventually everyone looks at it as a boy who cried wolf type scenario. And eventually when you yell wolf, wolf, a lot less people are going to look over. So, one name that truly believes that is Eric Bischoff. He is claiming that these are going to start having the adverse effect and people are going to walk away. Like tried and true AEW fans are going to get sick and tired of these after a while. A lot of fans already are that are tried and true AEW fans. They're like, not again, man. But Bischoff even took a bolder stance on Sasha. Even if Sasha is the announcement, Bischoff says this is a bold take. He said she'll definitely get more money from Tony Khan and AEW, but the days of her being a major star are over. He's not raising the question or, judging on the booking of Sasha, Mercedes, and AEW. That'll determine if she's going to remain a major star or not. He is saying the days of her being a major star, the second she signs, are done. Now, we've had that discussion. This is a pro Sasha channel, pro Mercedes Moné channel. I think she's just the best female wrestler on the planet because she gives everybody their best match. But I raised the discussion, is that the best place for her, the most eyeballs? Will they utilize her correctly? Some say, hey, it can't be worse than WWE, but in some situations, I guess it could. But that's why I raised the discussion. You guys decide. Bischoff is saying, I'm telling you right now, the days are done for her being a star. That is Bischoff ain't giving AEW any credit. Wild, man. We'll see. I want the best for her. So if that is the announcement, it looks like that's definitely where she's ending up. Alternative entertainment wrestling. So we'll see, man. But that's a big story for tonight. If it's not Sasha, this will be the second time that people thought it was. So if it's not, I hope TK has a really big alternative, big announcement, because everybody's going to be tuning in for Banks. If it's somebody like Okada, then it's still a letdown to most, like Ospreay, right? The big signing of an AEW star, right? A new star to AEW. You guys remember it was a big announcement Tony Khan was going to make. But it ended up being Will Ospreay, which is obviously a big signing. Great superstar, we get it. Wrestler. But he already was working with AEW. There was already signs in discussion that he was going over there anyway. So fans were kind of like, all right, that's a side thing. We already kind of know about him. What else you got cooking, TK? And then when he just announced Ospreay, it was kind of, well, we knew that. With Okada, yes, they made a big deal out of it because supposedly he was in big talks with WWE as well. But BC always raised the discussion of, doesn't he fit better in AEW, Okada? So that is a major, at least that is major though. That's big because there is discussion of where he's going. So that would at least be, I think, a substantial alternative to Sasha. But it's got to be that. Anything lower than that, fans will be disappointed. We'll see. That'll be tonight's big announcement. That should pump up the rating a little bit. I don't know if they're going to get 1 million. They're hovering around that 800-ish thousand viewership. This should get them to about 950, which was their old normal. They just could never get over that 950 hump. So we'll see, man. But as a Mercedes Moné Sasha Banks channel, we'll be keeping a keen eye on the situation for sure. That is tonight's major announcement, a major award. Moving on. We'll go to NXT, the crowd last night. Whoa. So the NXT crowd last night was told to stop their chants or they would have to take the show off the air. It's not what you think. It wasn't "we want Cody" chants or "Rocky sucks." No, they weren't trying to mute those out or anything like that, or tell the crowd to stop or we're not going to perform. No, this was F you Mello, only they weren't just saying letters. So you get the point. F you Mello. This was at the jump of the show. Of course, Mello finally turning on Trick, a long time in the making. And fans pissed off at Mello, right? I always said Mello just doesn't do it for me. There's nothing captivates me. I'd have to see this dude heel. Some wrestlers I have to see as a heel because I truly feel they're going to shine more, shine better. Rocky Maivia, most of us thought that from the jump. This smiling kid is not going to do it. We need Rocky Maivia to go heel. That's the only way he's going to tap into his true potential, right? Dwayne Johnson was never going to be what he is today unless he found that confidence and self-esteem as a pro wrestler. He was never going to do that unless he turned heel. He did, and it worked out better than any of us could have thought. The Rock was created. Roman Reigns happens to be his cousin, but the same thing. You could try to shove him down a lot of people's throats for 5+ years, put him in all the WrestleMania main events as a face, but it wasn't connecting with a big part of the audience. Because he wasn't believing in himself. You saw it. His promos were so bad. He was forgetting words. John Cena called him out in the middle of a Raw. It's still to this day one of the most cringeworthy promos you will ever witness. Yet I've watched it 1 billion times because it's so, it's goosebumps. I mean, John Cena he always goes into business for himself in those promos. I mean, there's been about at least 10 occasions where John Cena has absolutely ripped up, shredded up pro wrestlers' careers while doing a back and forth promo battle. And John Cena will if you're not good on the mic, John Cena will expose it in a heartbeat. And he looked right at Roman and said, it's called a promo, kid. If you're going to be the big dog, you're going to have to learn how to cut him. And Roman just was like, wow, shredded. You remember, by the way, this is off topic. Remember John Cena called out The Rock? Because The Rock had something that he wanted to say. It was written on his hand. One part of the promo that he didn't want to forget, and he wrote it on his hand. And John Cena called him out. That was the catalyst to the biggest part of their feud, because there was already kind of a beef. John Cena was not happy that he wasn't around often. I mean, he's trying to put WWE on a whole nother level, man. He's got to make these movies to be able to do that. And now John Cena deeply regrets doing that because now Cena's in that role. So he knows now more than ever how tough it is to juggle. But Cena called him right out, man. And The Rock, you see his expression, his mannerism, his face said it all. He was pissed. And that was a real feud going further between those two. So anyway, this is one of those things where, Roman Reigns has to go heel, just like the Rocky Maivia has to go heel, because then they're going to see, or at least get that confidence and self-esteem to tap into their true potential. As corny as that may sound, that's what happened with Rocky Maivia to The Rock, and that's what happened when Roman Reigns finally went heel. He started to find himself. He literally now cuts promos pretty flawlessly. That was one of his best promos ever this past Friday night when he was gutting up Seth Rollins. Man, he was sending one jab after another, no butchering it, no stuttering it. Wasn't forgetting any of that promo. Slowing it down as he raises the one. It's all slow movements. Everything is with the muse. Everything happened once he turned heel. And isn't it wild? When I started this channel is when they pretty much started pushing Roman to be the guy. And for those 5 years, basically, I'd scream to the mountaintop, he's got to turn heel. It's not just for the fans. It's for Roman. What am I getting at, right? I'm just using two big names like The Rock and Roman. Melo is one of those dudes, and I know BC's not the only one that has to see him turn heel to finally start to connect. We have to see the other side of Melo. Otherwise, to us, he's just one-dimensional. And we know there's more talent within this dude. So I had to see him turn heel, and again, it's not just for the fans. It's for Melo. Melo's only going to get better from this, man. I'm telling you. Melo is going to go to the... If you already liked Melo a lot, you were already jiving with the dude, you were connecting with Melo, you're just going to love the dude even more now. And if you weren't like BC, we're probably going to now. Melo will only be better from this. I'm already digging the look of Melo, the new... Just the little motions, man. You can tell he's already slowing it down and really taking it all in. So excited to see Melo's trajectory. And he's already getting, you talk about organic heel heat. How about you, Melo? To the point where production has to tell the audience, simmer down. USA's about to take us off the air. Wild, man. So we hope the best for Melo, man. This is going to help everybody involved. And now we can truly rock with Melo. Pretty cool. As far as being taken off. Now, a lot of people are talking about, oh, come on, man. You're trying to quiet down the crowd. That's a USA thing, guys. WWE wouldn't mind that at all. Adds to the suspense. Right? The crowd is into it, man. F you, Melo. That's organic heel heat. HHH, HBK. Everybody will tell you that. USA Network just does not like that. Fox doesn't either. It goes with the rating, man. The damn PG rating and all of that. That's why you see on Fox, man, every time Rock is out there, Rock loves the swears, right? He loves saying things like bullshit and all that. If you notice, Fox has to beep it out, and it greatly hurts the segments because every time Michael Cole's trying to say something or The Rock continues with his promo, you got the stuttering on air, right? Because it keeps going in and out. It keeps going to a mute and then out of mute, out of mute. It just ruins it. It ruins the experience. So, I mean, this wasn't WWE just doing it because they just don't want you to scream F you, Melo. No. USA just did not like it. And USA was probably telling them, dude, we're not doing that, bro. This is not how we're trying. You see how colorful NXT is and all of that. They're trying to market to a certain demographic. We know that. They don't want those type of chants. Anyway, that was a big story. Still is a big story making the rounds, man. The crowd of NXT told to simmer down or we're going off the air. Moving on. WWE is still undecided on the Hall of Fame. Guys, you better hurry up. You're 58 days away from the Hall of Fame, dude. I mean, that's 8 weeks and 2 days. You gots to get a moving. We used to get Hall of Fame inductees around the Royal Rumble. Sometimes it was before the Rumble. You guys remember that. Announcements before the Rumble. We're a couple weeks post-Rumble now, heading into anyway, and they're undecided on the full list. It's not that hard. It's 40 years of WrestleMania. You put in Batista, You put in Bray Wyatt instantly. We don't have to wait 10, 5, 2 years for Bray Wyatt. Put in Regis Philbin as the celebrity in the celebrity wing. I don't know how he's not in it anyway. He's went above and beyond for pro wrestling for WWE. It seemed like there was a time where every week he was bringing a pro wrestler onto his talk show and nobody else would. Except for maybe late night Arsenio Hall, if anybody remembers that. I'm probably dating myself way back, but Regis Philbin, put him in. I just gave you 3 names. It ain't that hard. China as an individual, not DX. Let's get some names out there. There's people buying tickets. I believe it's going to be a duo show with SmackDown, so they're going to watch the show anyway. But still, you know, they're probably excited. They're going to see the Hall of Fame, and you're not giving them anything with 2 months to go. And the word we're getting is that they don't even have the full list. So the people going in, they haven't even gotten the call yet. Oh, man. I don't know. The majority of the list, anyway. You gotta... This company is in such disarray, man. Some of it's not even their fault. Some of it's just bad timing and luck. Or it's just injuries, lawsuits, poor decision-making booking-wise, HHH, with the whole Cody Rhodes debacle. And word going around was at first, H knew nothing about the whole Rock coming back. And now the newest report is, no, that's debunked. He definitely knew about it, which I told you. If you thought H didn't know about the Rock coming back and going to Mania, that he wasn't a part of the conversations, BS. Come on, man, think. So, but they still had Cody win the Rumble. They still had Cody out there with The Rock saying, I'm not going to wrestle you at WrestleMania. They just made Cody look like an idiot anyway, but they have been for the entire year. So you just have bad booking, lawsuits, injuries. The WWE is in such flux that, I mean, is HHH even remembering there's a Hall of Fame? Like, you have to now go, there's a Hall of Fame. We should probably make some calls. We should probably get some Hall of Famers in here. Oh, boy. Rough. Moving on, Brian Pillman's estate. Brian Pillman, an absolute legend in this game. Brian Pillman estate and WWE agreed to a new WWE Legends deal. Brittany Pillman Evans, the daughter of Brian Pillman, says the following. And I quote, I never thought I would see this day, but after 27 long years, my siblings and I finally own the rights to our father's legacy. I just want to say thank you to all the fans for keeping my father's name alive. This is all because of you, and thanks to the WWE for making this happen. Stay tuned for new merch coming soon. New Brian Pillman merch from WWE. And his family will greatly profit from this as well. So this is very good. Long time in the making, I know. Of course, Lexis King, NXT talent. For those of you that know, that is his father, Brian Pillman. And that's Brian Pillman Jr., by the way. But I'm down with the Lexis King. I would have had him just with the name. It's totally fine. You know, there's just always a big push to separate yourself from your family. Stop. As long as they're not going to push you to the moon unrealistically like Charlie Flair, right? 14 championships. She's been there less than Naomi, who's got 2. And she ain't better than Naomi. But yet, 14 titles, right? Then you see people going, all right, because it's the damn Flair name. But it's okay. I mean, you can be a Rhodes in this business. You're going to be fine, man. I think Cody's doing just fine, and that's with fucking questionable booking and all that. I think he's just fine. You can keep your name, you know, even if you want to be Lexis Pillman. All right, we do have to move on, though. These are not even the bigger stories. These are the side stories that we should be discussing a little bit faster, but BC is fully amplified, so we're going to take as long as we want on these stories. But we do have to move on, though. So we'll go over back to The Rock. We've been discussing him in a lot of these stories in parts. Well, this story is fully about The Rock. He is currently, or has currently, cracked the top 5 in WWE merchandise. That is massive because he hasn't even been around. He just came back stared at Roman, and the dude cracked the top 5 in merchandise already. So forget the massive eyeballs. Yeah, I mean, you guys saw the SmackDown rating, obviously, and now the merchandise, the buzz, the headlines, whether positive or negative. I mean, The Rock, he just, oh man, everything this guy does is just, it's so polarizing. And to already crack the top 5, I think he even took out LA Knight in the process. I have to see. I think LA Knight was top, or Randy Orton, or maybe it was both. I have to go back and check. But yeah, The Rock has already cracked the top 5, so we expect him to keep moving forward as the weeks go on. Pretty big news. Congrats to The Rock. Also, the ratings, speaking of, the SmackDown rating, which just aforementioned, actually, SmackDown's rating this week was a 2.5. I think it was a tad under 2.5. And their final segment with Rock, Cody, Roman peaked over 2.6. Their best seg quarterly since 2022, I believe. So a couple of years. So that was the biggest segment in a couple of years. Big SmackDown. Raw's rating dipped, unfortunately. They were at a 1.9 plus last week. They dipped into the 1.8, so 1.89 this week. No Rock advertisement or anything like that, but a lot of interest for Cody Rhodes and how the situation was going to be handled. What did he have to say? And Raw actually lost viewers down to the 1.8s, 1.89. So interesting there. Moving on. Paul Triple H Levesque McMahon facing heavy pressure to send this WWE superstar back to NXT due to lack of skill and too many botches. And as I said in the cold open teaser, took BC by surprise this one. Maxine Dupree. A lot of backlash. I guess this has been going on since December, by the way. I think it was December 12th is what I'm being told that Rhea Ripley took on Maxine. I don't recall this. I don't remember it at all. But this is where this really started, where I guess there was so many botches and Rhea just looked actually upset with Maxine in the match. And then word going around was that Rhea Ripley was legit furious at Maxine. I don't even remember that match. That's probably the reason I don't remember it. Already tried to forget it possibly. But Rhea Ripley, I guess. Rhea Ripley was really just irritated at the match. And a lot of that was obviously geared toward Maxine. And I guess in the weeks that followed, it's been a thing, I guess, with a lot of fans where just Maxine is just like, dude, that's enough. Like, just send her back to NXT for her own good. Like, we don't even mind her. We like her, but just send her back. Why I say this catches BC by surprise is that I guess I wasn't putting too much into the whole Maxine character. I truly look at her as just kind of like a comedy act. And not to say that she won't become a really good pro wrestler if that's the path that she chooses. But right now, obviously, she's so far from that. But I thought that was kind of the lure, right? That was kind of the gig. I thought because she's so awkward in the ring, that's the ha-ha, right? That's why she's in Alpha Academy. She's doing the caterpillar. I almost called it the WORM. Who was it? Scotty Too Hotty. You guys remember that? I almost called it that. But it's the caterpillar, I believe it. Now it's the reverse caterpillar, right? The point is that I guess because I always looked at her like they're positioning her as like a female R-Truth, right? She's just comedy, just ha-ha. She's going to go in there and wrestle sometimes, and it's going to be an absolute goof fest. But she's playing her role good, right? I mean, I never had a problem with Maxine because I always took her for how I believed they were booking her. But I guess fans are just getting upset that, no, she's having more and more matches. And it's actually hurting the wrestler she's in there with because they're coming out looking just as bad. So that's why I say it caught BC by surprise, because a lot more people were critiquing the Maxine matches than I had thought. So I'll watch more vividly now that I know that a lot more fans just want a little bit more serious wrestling out of Maxine, just so it's not just a complete goof fest from top to bottom, and that everybody she's in there with doesn't come out looking like an idiot. I get it. I do get it. Again, I've always liked Maxine. Super beautiful, obviously. Just being up on the apron is enough for BC to say, hey, 2 thumbs up. I like. But I do hear you guys, man. It's the botches, I guess, too. You know, there's just so many, and it's so awkward when she's in there that this is why so many fans are like, and guys, I've seen, like, it's just a lot of backlash to Triple H, Paul Levesque McMahon, to send her back to NXT, you know, for her own good. And it was a massive response. And again, recently, it got so big this past week that, you know, BC had to do a little bit of research. Like, damn, this goes back to December. I think it was December 12th, Rhea Ripley. So very interesting. I like her. I think there's so much potential. She could be on the main roster and not necessarily be a wrestler. You know, they started her as just a manager. I don't see any problem with that. You know, keep her training in the process, and then down the line, have her start wrestling. I think this should be an easy solve. I think there's absolutely a place for her on the main roster. Maybe not wrestling, but I mean, look at the booking for Chad Gable, right? There was a moment in time, middle of last year maybe, when he was in there with Gunther, and it looked like he was finally going to get pushed. Remember, he was having really good matches with Gunther, and everybody was, finally, Gable is getting his moment. And after the Gunther thing, Gable was an afterthought. I can't tell you when the last time he actually wrestled. It could have been last week, right? Was he in that 6? I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even tell you when and that's sad. Gable's like really good. I'm not just talking about skill either, guys. I don't care about how many stars you're giving the match or how many times I yelled, "This is awesome," which I don't in wrestling matches. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about he can put storylines on his back. He's so good on the microphone. He's got a great presence to him. He doesn't have to be the biggest dude. In this scenario, this just shows you smaller dudes can absolutely get over. But without the chance to, well, pretty much DOA. So Maxine, that's big, man. I didn't know it was as big as it is in the community, but yeah, people are starting to go, hey, Maxine, we like you. You're a beautiful girl. Maybe there's potential, but this ain't it. Paul, do something, they're saying. We'll see. We'll see if he actually I think Paul Levesque McMahon has a lot of other bigger fish to fry right now. Moving on, with 8 weeks, 59 days to go before WrestleMania, WWE planted the seeds on Raw of a potential IC title match for Gunther on the 40th anniversary show in Philadelphia. But word going around the campfire is the company isn't completely sold on this match yet. Of course, we're talking about Gunther in the IC title and his possible Mania opponent, Jey Uso. Now, of course, I can't say that. Most of us love Jey Uso. For BC, if you're a longtime subscriber to this channel, you know that's my favorite tag team, Jimmy and Jey Uso. Not Solo and Jimmy or any other version. So yeah, a little biased to Jey Uso because I respect him on a whole nother level. My favorite tag team easily in today's pro wrestling and has been. But I had to raise the discussion after Monday night. You know, is Jey Uso the best person to take the title off of a monster Gunther? And even BC is like, it's not what I would book. And again, another level. Love that dude. I get it. But whoa, this is Gunther. He's beaten everybody on the mid card. I get it. He hasn't really faced the main roster's main event level talent yet, right? The Punks, the Codys, the Sethingtons, the Romans, I don't even think Sami Zayn has he. The Owens, doesn't matter the brand. I'm just saying he hasn't really fought any of them yet, wrestled them. It's really the Miz's, the Chad Gables, Bronson Reed, Tozawa, you know, Kofi Kingston. But Jey Uso, I don't know how that's helping Gunther if he's going to, because he has to drop the title at Mania, because It's time for somebody to really get a massive rub off of this 600-plus day title reign from Gunther, win that title at Mania, and that's going to be the beginning to catapulting Gunther to that main event scene and starting to face the top-tier talent finally. So Mania is absolutely the place for a heel that's held the title for so long to pass it to that big baby face. So in just saying that, you say, hey, what's wrong with Jey Uso? He's right up there with Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens. Or I just don't know how that helps Gunther going to the main event scene. How do you sell these main event matches with Gunther, right? When that is so fresh in everybody's dome piece. Like Jey Uso beat you. If that's the case, you have to have it heavily overproduced at the finish, right? You have to overbook the finish of the match between Jey and Gunther if Jey's going to win the title. You have to. You would have to do that. It can't just be clean. As much as we love Jey Uso, again, BC, his favorite tag team, I gotcha. But Jey cannot beat him clean. Imperium gets involved, and it can't even just be like the New Day. You know, it's got to be something on a whole nother level. Like somebody comes out, really helps, and it's just a big situation, a big headline that Gunther really doesn't lose too much from it. He lost his title, yes. Jey gets this massive rub and gets to have this title reign. But Gunther is like, oh, really? And he can go to the main event scene and be just fine. If he just loses straight up to Jey Uso, I mean, and then he's taking on, you know, Rollins and Cody Rhodes, CM Punk. You know, you're already thinking like, yeah, but Jey Uso already beat him. You know, whereas right now he's an indestructible monster. Like nobody can beat him, right? 600 days. Again, I get it. He hasn't faced the main event scene yet. I get it. But you're building him as this monster. Jey Uso is the one? I'm not exactly seeing it. So that's why, right? Let's bring it full circle. That's why this is one of those scenarios. I can see why WWE's not completely sold on it. And why you might want to push this maybe to Elimination Chamber. I don't want to take Jay's shine. I'm not saying to do it. I'm putting the questions out there, man. Now, if you're wondering if they do Jey Uso Gunther at like a Elimination Chamber, okay, in Australia, because that's a big match for Gunther, obviously. The two names that we're hearing they could go with. One, they planted the seed just in case, and this shows you that they really are not cemented with this. They planted seeds in case they don't want to do Jey and Gunther at Mania, and maybe they want to push that to Elimination Chamber, of Braun Breaker as a possible substitution for Jey Uso. Braun Breaker, right before that segment on Raw, was backstage in Adam Pearce's office signing that contract, or going over it anyway. So Braun Breaker could be that person, and by putting it at Mania, you can build Braun for the 8 weeks you do have, and hopefully that would be something. Braun Breaker versus Gunther obviously would be badass. I believe somebody recently said, maybe it was the last upload, but somebody said that Breaker was Gunther's last loss over in NXT. So, I can't confirm that. I did see that. It sounds about right. If Gunther's last loss was to Braun Breaker, singles anyway, NXT, well, there you go. You got a little bit of a story already between the two. Now, there's a second name, too, that is being tossed around, and that is Sheamus. Sheamus, of course, many big battles with Gunther. Now, do you want to see that? You got to remember, last year, you had the same match, just adding in a Drew McIntyre. But Sheamus is one of those names that's ready to rock out and is putting out a statement recently, too, by the way, about Gunther, talking about congratulations. It's going to be great when I'm the one to basically break down that title reign. You know, I'm going to take that one from you. So congratulations. It's going to be great when I take it from you. So Sheamus is planting those seeds as well, whether on his own or as the company give him a little bit of a nudge. So I don't know. Would you guys rather see Jey Uso and, you know, would it be Jey Uso and Gunther? Would you rather see Braun Breaker and Gunther? Would that mean more? Would it matter more? Does Breaker deserve that title right from the jump? Will that hurt Breaker instead of help him? Somebody like Sheamus, long overdue. Right when he comes back, let's give him some shine. I'm sure a lot of people will say Jey Uso just because he earned it, right? It's 2024, so it's all about who deserves it, who earns it. He wrestled all the time. He's been waiting for this moment. I get all that, I love Jey Uso. But we do have to say, though, that Gunther losing to Jey straight up, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing how you can then put Gunther into the main event scene after that. Man, you just haven't booked Jey like that. Even as a singles competitor, Jey has not been booked to that person yet. And you already lost to, you put him in there with Roman. Good match and everything, but he couldn't get past Roman. So you're thinking, like, if Gunther ever takes on Roman, you remember those situations, right? Well, Jey couldn't even get past Roman. So what makes you, and Jey beat fucking Gunther for an IC title. You think of these things. A lot of us do. Anyway, not completely sold, up in the air, elimination. By the time this upload goes out, maybe they made a decision, right? Jey versus Gunther at Chamber or Jey versus Gunther at Mania. Maybe they've already made the decision, but I will tell you, as of Monday night, they were not completely sold, and that's why you saw Braun right beforehand. Now you see people like Sheamus kind of planting their own seeds as well. Interesting. I'll be keeping an eye on that. Let's end the upload with the big, massive press conference tomorrow night, Las Vegas, for WrestleMania 40. Now, from the jump, a lot of people think that one of the big announcements, maybe the big announcement, is that next year's Mania will be in Vegas. Now, on one hand, that could be true because WWE loves to follow the NFL, right? So when they do a Super Bowl somewhere, they immediately start looking at can we plant Mania there? Or if Mania's already been there, can we bring it back? So they try to play off that buzz and try to duplicate that. So obviously with the Super Bowl being Vegas bound, it makes sense for them to be there. The Super Bowl is there this weekend. There's all this buzz. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, has a big football league that is debuting in just a couple of months. So they're trying to tie in the football aspect. So you could absolutely get the announcement of next year's Mania being in Vegas. Now, the one thing that would kind of debunk that is what we've been hearing all along, and that's that WrestleMania 41 was going to be in Minneapolis. And what is it called? The US Bank Stadium, I believe it's called. Beautiful, brand new. The Vikings play there, which obviously they're in the Green Bay Packer division, so I don't care about the Vikings. But they have a beautiful place there. I mean, half of it's like glass or whatever, just a very nice stadium. And there was word going around for over a year now that was the lead candidate to be the WrestleMania 41 home, WrestleMania 41 location. And to just swerve that and go Vegas, oh man, we weren't even hearing that. Up until last week, we were still hearing Minneapolis, WrestleMania 41, US Bank Stadium. So anyway, guys, just putting that out there, it could be the announcement of next year's Mania in Vegas, but we were hearing all along that it was Minneapolis. Maybe after tomorrow night, that'll be cleared up. Maybe they will announce Minneapolis in Vegas tomorrow night. And then the other thing we are expecting, to the chagrin of a lot of the IWC, but as of the making of this upload, 16 times today, this could change, but as of the making of this upload, we are still hearing that it is Rock versus Roman. Even though Paul Levesque McMahon teased the referee shirt from George Kittle, Rock refereeing Cody versus Roman, and that would be a way for Rock to fend off the bloodline and help Cody win the title, and then you set up Rock Roman next. I mean, that's one of the things going around. And Triple H teased that a little bit. But we're hearing that it's still, if you look at all the promotional work too, it backs up what we're still hearing. All the promotional guys has two dudes in the front of the picture. It's Rock, it's Roman. Everybody else follows back. The Rheas, the Biancas, Cody, Sethington are like evened up as if they're going to wrestle, which we expect that to be a triple threat announced as well. Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes. Triple threat for the world title. And then Rock versus Roman is supposed to be announced tomorrow still. That's still on the table to be presented to everybody. So, it remains to be seen if they go through with that, but that is still the big announcement as well. To be announced tomorrow, Rock will take on Roman Reigns. And they're going to continue to use the We Want Cody in a storyline. And it's easy to manipulate the crowd. You saw that this past Monday, right? It helped that the crowd wasn't that heavy against The Rock. A few hundred people with Rocky sucks, and literally only a few hundred. The hard camera showed nobody chanting, basically. And then like the B camera picked up like one dude with a red beard trying to get his whole section. He's like, Rock, I sucks, right? A few people in that section picked up. It was like a few hundred, it sounded like. Never caught on. And then there was a bunch of signs distributed. A few fans brought some, I guess, and WWE handed them out to camera side sections. So it was a mixture. So that's why you saw a lot of different Cody Rhodes, We Want Cody signs, but it was the same version, just 2 or 3 versions. Hopefully that makes sense. So they're going to continue to put that in the storyline and really catapult Cody to this world title win. But, you got a full day. It's early right now as we record this upload. So, anything could change. But I'm just telling you what we're hearing. Those are the announcements. They're going to announce WrestleMania of next year, whether that's Minneapolis or Vegas. And they are going to officially announce the main events for this year's Mania. So that's what we're hearing. We'll see. That's it, man. I told you, that's a big up. That's it. But this is like a pay-per-view tomorrow night, man. That's why WWE's loving it. I mean, they're going to get all the eyeballs on this special and try to hype you up with it. The Rock put up something just a few hours ago. The Rock saying like Last Supper with a world emoji. And he started putting up the hashtags WrestleMania, Vegas conference, all that, WWE, and it's a video of him training. Is he training that hard to be a referee? No, but he's doing push-ups. It shows him like about to go out to the SmackDown crowd. So The Rock is like really pumping this up and showing you that he is in shape. So it doesn't look like The Rock is phased either from this movement. From a lot of IWC fans that are just like all up in feels, man. I mean, they're taking this to but every year they kind of do this, right? There's a portion of the IWs every year. There's one thing they're truly not happy with, and they will just they will friggin' no pitchforks. I love Cody Rhodes, but this is just like it's Rock and Roman. Everyone relax. It's going to be just fine. Cody got a bigger pop when he came out on Monday than I've ever heard. And as a Cody supporter, I'm telling you that as fact. So this is going to help him no matter what. Wild, man. Wild. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be like, I'm going to have 2 coffees. I'm going to blast that event at the highest level imaginable. We're going to be amplified. BC will be talking about it after that event for sure. Guys, until next time, there will be that next time. Top guys, we're out. BC saying check you. Peace. Deuces. Ooses. Go long. It's the Super Bowl. At least run 50 yards, man. I'm not asking you to friggin' run a marathon. Come on. 50. How long is it going to take you? Don't turn around. Keep moving. 50 yards. That's 3 feet a yard. What do you keep looking at? A yard. What's a yard? Hold on. There you go. All right. Here it comes.